ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton. This is what your friends won't tell you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Suzanne Boyd.
And I'm Shannon Thompson Jones.
And this is what your friends won't tell you. And we are live from ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton today. And it's our first on-location show, which is amazing. Shannon's already crying. All right, people, get the tissues.
My mother's here. My
mother's here. I know. All right, so let's.
And my niece is
and
here.
the niece is here. Let's show the studio audience. Can we show them? Yeah. So okay. So this is our live studio audience. We have some of our friends, some of our family, some of our people that are just fans of the show that have come to watch us today here at ACP Home Interiors. And just a huge shout out to Stephanie and Bertrand Molyneux from ACP Home Interiors for welcoming us into their gorgeous, gorgeous store. We're going to tell you a little bit more about this place in just a bit. But first, we want to talk about our topic. And it's a struggle.
Yeah. It's getting dark now.
So, so I think this really came up for both Shannon and I recently because you know, we both have been struggling. I think a lot of people struggle. I think it's this time of year.
Yes.
For me, it's been anxiety and overwhelm. You know, you're trying to do too much and sadness. There's a lot of like grief and stuff that comes up for me, like loneliness around the holidays. And this really hit me hard right before Thanksgiving. You know, my mom was in town with her husband, so I had family in town. I had the kids. I had my boyfriend's kids. Right. I had Thanksgiving at my house, so I felt like I was just doing so much.
Such a bad idea.
Yeah, and it's like going into it, you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. No. It's going to be magical and amazing and wonderful.
I've never said that.
I always say that.
I've never said that.
I always
don't do it.
say that, and then it turns. I'm literally sucking my thumb in my bed with not wanting to come out of my covers. You know.
Yes.
So what is that all about? Do we have to go through this every year?
I think we have to go through struggle, and I got to be honest. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, and I have spent many years of my life going, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Why? I don't think we should have to struggle. And at 47 this month, I'm realizing, it's actually a thing.
Yeah.
We have to do it. It's part of life. Grieving, loss, change is part of life. There's no getting around it. And this time of year highlights that, right? If you've had a loss, if you're going through a divorce, if you're feeling lonely, if you're having struggles with your children, right? Then you feel a greater loss because it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Right.
But it's really, really difficult time of the year if you're going through, you know, the stress and the overwhelm and the grief and loss. So.
Yeah. And you actually wanted to talk about because I will tell you that when I was in my bed before Thanksgiving, feeling awful and feeling really, almost like a depression, like I did not want to get out of bed because I was so upset and anxious and overwhelmed. The one thing that really saved me was sort of this concept of letting go and just kind of handing it over to whatever you believe in. For me, it's, I just said a little prayer and just said, please, I just don't want to feel this way. I'm just going to give it all to you. Yeah. And I'm going to let go of all of this and just realize that not everything has to be perfect.
Right.
And not everything has to be the way that I think it's got to be, you know?
Well, and when we were talking about this show, I got really curious about what are the principles that govern people. And so I was researching Buddhism. And one of the four noble principles of Buddhism, one of them, the first one is you're going to have struggle. Yeah. Struggle is a part of life. There's change in life always. It's always changing. That's the only guarantee. There's going to be loss. There's going to be struggle. The second tenet being, if you cling and don't want struggle and don't want change, those attachments are going to be really, really painful. Yeah. If you are hanging on to things staying the same, you are in big trouble, right? And then they go on to say, once you recognize this is just how it is, face it, deal with it, don't be paralyzed by it, then new things come, right? Because with change and grief and loss, there's bad things, but then that opens for new things. So I thought, wow, that's an amazing principle.
Right. And you learn so much in those times of struggle. I mean, when you look back and you say, okay, I need to do things differently. You know, I can't keep doing this every single year. You know, during those struggle times is when you really realize that, hey, I've got to make a change in my life.
I call those growth opportunities, and sometimes I put other words in front of that.
Are they curse words?
Yes, they are. But yes, the growth opportunities, that's where the growth is. You know, when you look at Christianity, a lot of people believe that in Christianity that things are happening exactly as they're supposed to. God has a plan, that everything is happening for the greater good. All the bad stuff is going to pan out in the end, and it's all for the good. So that's kind of another way of looking at it.
Right.
I come from a family of 12-step individuals. A lot of my family members have recovery, and the 12-step philosophy is, the first step is I am powerless over alcohol, drugs, shopping, gambling, whatever it is, food. I don't know anything about that. And can I turn it over to a power, can I admit that I'm powerless? And then can I turn it over to a source greater than myself? And they don't make you decide that it has to be God or Buddha or anything. But, sometimes in 12 step, they'll say, put an apple on your dashboard. I don't care who you turn it over to, but you've got to turn it over to something. Something, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I grew up in a very, very, very small town in North Florida. And it's the Bible Belt. And so we went to church every Sunday. I went to a Christian school. I went to church camp. I was in the youth group.
Right.
Like, I did all that. And I got to college, and I never felt a connection. I never felt a connection. When I would go to church, I felt like it was just a ritual. Like, it wasn't, I never felt that connection. And I went to college and I said, I'm not doing this church thing anymore. I just was like, I'm over it, And so it was when I was going through my divorce that I really got back to, the whole spiritual side of me, because I felt like I've got to find something else that I can turn to, rather than wine.
That's a faith as well.
That's right. I've got to find something else that can kind of help me through this.
Right.
And that's really where I got into yoga and back into my spiritual practice. And I don't know if I believe so much, I don't want to say I believe in organized religion. It's not really about going to church for me. It's more about my rituals that I do in the morning. It's more about, when I wake up, I read from my books and I write in my journal. And those are the things that really kind of help me through these struggles.
There are a lot of books by your bedside table. So this is why it's been hard to get out of the house.
I know.
But no, that's exactly...
Self-help. You need a self-help book?
Yes,
I got it.
She's got it. I'm just wondering how long this ritual takes in the morning, but that's a whole nother show.
It's a long time.
But absolutely, that's really, I think, what the show's about today is like, what is your belief? What is your spirituality? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Find something that you can anchor in, that you can believe in, that will get you through these struggles, because as the Buddhists say, they're not going anywhere. These struggles are not going anywhere.
Right.
And I know for me, my journey recently, this empty nesting thing, I mean, this was supposed to be a great, they're going to go and leave.
Yeah, I got all this time on my hands. I don't have to make
so
dinner
great.
every night.
You work out, it's great. I'm like,
Right.
no, you could shoot a cannon off in my home. It's the loneliest place in America. There's no laughter in the halls. I'm putting rap music in the bathroom just to feel like someone's showering.
That's something I won't be doing.
Right? No, you're going to miss it.
Really?
The country song says, you're going to miss this. You're going to miss this. So it's crazy, and then of course at holiday time, it's even worse, it's even quieter. So definitely I can relate to, all of what you're saying at this time of year. It makes it really rough.
Yeah. All right, so, what I love about Shannon is her tools. I mean, she is amazing in that she has very simple, they're not easy tools, but they're simple tools that if you take her advice and if you take some of these actions, that it will really help you in these times of struggle. So we're going to have Shannon's Toolbox coming up next on What Your Friends Won't Tell You. And we are live from ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton with a studio audience for What Your Friends Won't Tell You this afternoon. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Today's episode of What Your Friends Won't Tell You is brought to you by ACP Home Interiors with locations in Boca Raton, Delray Beach, Highlands, North Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia. The family-owned furniture and gift store has been in business since 1983. All right, welcome back to What Your Friends Won't Tell You. Suzanne and Shannon here, and we are now talking about Shannon's toolbox. Yes. I just want to remind you again that we're live from ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton today with a live studio audience. You guys can talk. Yeah. Yes. Oh yes! We needed like the cards. Like in a real talk show, they have cards. Applause. Like clap now. Yeah. Laugh. So thank you all for being here. Our friends, our family, our coworkers. Some of our fans of the show, so thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. All right, so Shannon, fix us.
So I always come hot off the top with something that's not pretty. So here we go. So the first one, lean into the discomfort. I know it's awful. But
what does that mean, though?
Right,
how do you do that?
So, yeah.
Are you crying?
Let me tell you how not to do it.
Okay.
Do not open your bottle of wine.
Do
not lean into a Chardonnay, okay? Do not lean into your apple pie. Right. Do not lean, I looked at my husband. Do not lean into your shopping, Mom. Do not lean into gambling. All of that stuff that is all forms of medicating. These are ways that we medicate ourselves. And when you medicate yourself, yes, it feels better for a moment.
Short time.
But then you're just stuffing the pain.
Then you got that headache.
Yeah,
right.
The hangover, whatever it is. But you're just stuffing the pain down. There is a process to this. And that's, again, back to those Buddhist principles that if you lean into the pain, if you face it, yes, it's awful. We've spent much of December crying, you and I,
yes.
Right? But then, first of all, crying is really good for your skin. So that's voila, right? But it is a cleansing, and it does promote healing, right? And please lean into the discomfort with support. That's one of the great things that you and I share. But doing that painful work, crying, being angry, screaming in your car, taking your plastic child's baseball bat to the bed pillow to get the anger out.
Okay.
Tearing up the phone. That's great because you want to get it out, right? Screaming in your car with the radio loud while you're driving. No one will even know, right? But getting all that pain out of you, it's awful to keep it inside of you. And it also
cathartic to let it out.
It's cathartic, and if you keep it in, you're going to get sick. Like there's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it basically says that. Like if you want to hold it in, you can, but that's cancer, that's sickness, that's illness. So get it out. So lean into that discomfort, feel the pain, let yourself ride the waves. That's the first tool. And then the second one that we talked about in the beginning, I don't know how I would be surviving right now if I didn't have a solid value system about what I do believe. What do I believe? Do I believe that everything happens for a reason? Do I believe that there's painful times, but if I walk through them, I'm going to be blessed on the other side, that there's good things coming, that nothing's permanent, everything's temporary? Figure out what you believe, right? When I've been having health struggles the past couple of years, every day it's been, I'm going to get better. This is a season. This is not forever, right? So those are my belief systems. So if you don't have any, please figure out what they are. Do your reading. Suzanne has a library.
If you need a book,
I
have it for you.
She's got it. But do your reading. Do your, check into
journaling,
your podcast, your journaling. Figure out what you believe, because that's what's going to save you when you're facing the greatest struggles of your life. And the last tool is, I definitely wouldn't be able to handle the difficulties of life, and I know you wouldn't either, without our village, right? Our resources. Tap into your resources. Who are your safe people? Who are the people that hold you when you cry? Who are the people that you reach out to when you're struggling? You have to have a village. Again, if you don't have one, start building one.
It's so funny because
we planned this.
She's sitting right here, and she's sitting right here. So, like, right before Thanksgiving, when I was just like, ugh, I was having such a hard time. And I have a hard time reaching out to people, which is so crazy because I'm like an open book, and I'm always talking to people. But I don't know, I feel like when I'm in that moment, like, it's so hard for me to reach out to people because I feel like they've got enough on their plate. They don't need. So I remember Tina called me, a few days before Thanksgiving, or maybe it was the day before Thanksgiving, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, So it's so important, and you forget, why don't we reach out to our girlfriends or to, our parents or whoever that make us always feel better.
Two concepts. One, you just said, so many of us feel we are a burden.
Yeah.
We feel that we are a burden when we reach out. And then when I was researching back when I did the thing on loneliness, what they said that blew my mind is that when you are lonely and in loneliness, you believe that nobody wants to be with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so awful right now, who would want to be with me?
Right.
So I'm no good to be around, and I'm a burden to you.
Or I have nothing to complain about. I mean, I have a beautiful family, people are healthy, I have food on the table, I was able to leave my job and do the thing that I'm passionate about. Like, it's so funny when people come up to me and they're like, oh, isn't your life amazing now? And so I feel bad when I say that I have these other struggles that are really difficult, and I feel like I'm not being grateful for what I do have.
Oh, you were raised with that too. I bought into that too. I'm just grateful. I'm
guilt.
just so grateful. I'm so grateful. You're gonna give me $5. I'm
blessed.
Grateful.
Right.
Yeah. So I was raised with that too. That concept. I inherited that somewhere. I don't know, but I do that too.
Yeah.
But, interestingly, when I was studying to be in psychology, I did the Lifeline at the suicide hotline. And what they helped us understand is somebody might call you and their entire family died in a plane crash, and that's what they're upset about, understandably. And then you might get a call from the woman whose cat passed away, and she's suicidal, and it is real for her.
Yeah.
If you talk to her, you realize the cat is the only safe person or thing in her world,
Right.
and that is very real for her, and there's no one else. The cat was it, and that person could suicide just as easily. So that really helped me to be a little gentler with myself. We all struggle
relative,
a struggle,
right?
And when
Yeah.
it's yours, and your pain is real, and you have a right to it. Right?
Oh, thank you. Everyone needs a therapist on hand like Shannon.
Everybody needs a Suzanne Boyd on hand.
Well, Shannon talked about my love of books, and so when we started this show, I said I really want to give people resources for the topics that we're talking about. And so today, some of our resources, and this book was actually given to me by my friend Jenna, who is here. And this book, honestly,
Love it.
Changed my life.
Yep.
It changed my life. It is one
Love
of
it.
those books, and it's not, it's changed me prayers, but it's not really religious. It's by Tasha Silver, and it talks about spiritual surrender. And what I love about this book, if you're not really a reader, is it's short little chapters with a change me prayer at the end. So if you are struggling, you just say this like change me prayer. And I'm telling you, it's such a great book. I gave it to Shannon and she loved it too.
Wonderful.
But it is such a good book if you are struggling. Change Me Prayers by Tasha Silver. Go get it. Get it on Amazon today.
Yes.
And the other one this is like an oldie but a goodie.
Yes.
Melody Beatty.
Can't go wrong with Melody.
This is The Language of Letting Go, which is meditation. This is another one that's short. It's not a full book. It's just daily meditations that if you're struggling, what I love to do with these kind of books is instead of going with an actual date, because it's dated, July 29th or whatever, I just like to say, okay, dear Lord, give me the lesson I need today. And I just open it and it's like, commitment. That's
not
Is that the lesson I need today? But yeah, that's what I love to do with my books, especially the meditation books like that. And we also talked about Insight Timer, like meditation apps.
Okay, yes, definitely apps. The language of letting go, just a little side note, my favorite expression is let go or be dragged. and that's from the 12-step program, and I've often been like face down behind a pickup truck on a gravel road just being dragged. So this is like a necessity for just learning those tools and techniques of surrendering.
Right. And this is both of them are one you can open. I have them at my bedside and I open them often just like, in the morning or at night, and you just need something really quick.
Right.
Okay. The next segment is the fun segment.
It is.
So it's the best thing ever. So Shannon and I wanted to come up with this because I know like all my former producers are looking at me going, she says that all the time. It's the best thing. Everything is the best thing ever to Suzanne. So I really wanted to create a segment called The Best Thing Ever.
Yes.
It's something that we're loving right now, we're talking about, we're using.
Yes.
And so that is coming up next on What Your Friends Won't Tell You. We are live at ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton with a live studio audience today, and we'll be right back. Oh, yay! What Your Friends Won't Tell You is committed to authenticity. That's why we're only taking you places that we believe in, places where we visit, where we shop, where we know that they're going to treat you right. All right, so when you first walk into ACP Home Interiors, the first thing you'll notice is that it feels like home. And I wish there was smell-o-vision in here because it smells delicious. It's the candles, and these candles are the best that I've ever used. They last forever and they smell delicious. Now, obviously they have, as you can tell, stunning furniture here at ACP Home Interiors. In fact, my entire house is furnished by ACP.
We're giving people something that they can actually touch, they can feel, and that they can enjoy, and that they say, that is exactly what I want to bring it home now.
What makes ACP special is that we have different things every time you come in this store.
People walk in the store, the first thing they say is, what is that smell? Your store smells amazing. Which candle is that? What fragrance is it? It's a mixture of scents. However, when you get one scent that you really love, the lines that we sell, you become addicted. They're fabulous. They're fabulous, and they're lines we've carried for a long, long time.
We go on shopping trips worldwide, so you'll always find something unique in the store.
We really work primarily out of our store because we're a one-stop shop. We have everything from lighting, rugs, bedding, everything that you need in your home. So we can pretty much get it here. If we don't have it in the store, most of the times we can order it.
By far, though, one of my favorite things in the store is the bedding. I mean, check this out. It is luxurious. It's American and European made, but it's also comfortable and cozy and very clean looking. And the best part about it is it's washable. So don't forget this holiday season to support your local businesses, shop local. Welcome back to ACP Home Interiors in Boca Raton and What Your Friends Won't Tell You. We are live right now with our first on-location episode, episode 53 of What Your Friends Won't Tell You. And we are also have a studio audience today. So we have a lot of people who came to ACP today to watch our show live. And so we really appreciate all of our friends and family and fans of the show who came to watch ACP, or came to watch What Your Friends Won't Tell You today. Okay, I'm trying to, what are you doing over there? Shannon's up to something over here. All right, we are now talking about the best thing ever. All right, so this, you know, every time we chat about this and we try to come up with something that, you know, sort of fits what we're talking about. And Shannon said, when we started talking about this, she said, how about the feel-good bag? All right, so Shannon, why don't you tell us what the feel-good bag is?
Okay, Suzanne.
She's not just a therapist, people.
So this feel-good bag is very special to me because myself, and one of my dear, dear friends who's here, Ashley Bennett, invented this a long time ago. We came together, it came from the idea of basically self-esteem building, and the idea came from a colleague of mine where we would put things in a bag, in like just a plastic bag. A client would be struggling with self-esteem or struggling with their philosophies of life, and we would say, well, put everything you've ever wanted to hear from your family when you were little, or things that you want to believe about yourself in the bag, pull them out every hour and read it to yourself. I am special, I am beautiful, I'm a good person, that kind of thing. And so when Ashley and I got together, it was such a transformative experience having that bag for both of us. We got together and we said, well, let's do this. Let's create it for others. So we came up with a feel-good bag, and we morphed it a little bit into kind of spiritual principles and the value system to retrain your brain, because your brain absorbs all the messages you tell it. So if you wake up and say, I'm going to have a horrible day,
You're gonna have
fascinatingly.
this is what I tell my kids all the time. Trace, are you listening?
Yes. This is the real deal. Your mother wasn't lying.
Right.
So
if you say you're ugly, then
you
right,
will feel ugly. Because
right.
the brain's a computer, it just absorbs the information and gives it back to you,
Right,
right?
right.
So the Feel Good bag has 10, the original bag has 10 stones that are all stones that are talking to you about kind of different philosophies and
And
different
I love the bag. It's like this
majestic,
amazing
purple,
velvet,
soft.
yeah.
It feels nice.
Right.
And the goal is to reach in when you first get the bag. Reach in every day and pull out a stone every hour and read it to yourself. So, for example, trust the process of your life.
Oh,
Perfect. I did
yeah, that
not
one's perfect.
plan that. That's perfect for the segment. And read it to yourself every day. Another one, don't take it personally. It's not about you. God, I could use this 75 times a day.
Yeah, that's a
Right?
good one. I always tell people that. Don't take it so
It's
personally.
so real.
Yeah.
It took me 30 years to realize that, right?
Yeah.
And my personal favorite that we've just added is you can let go now,
Yeah.
right? So that you don't have to be dragged.
Yeah.
So
Behind the pickup truck.
yeah, so
Right.
this is a great gift, and Ashley and I could tell many, many stories. As with anything that you create in a spiritual way, it turns out that way. So we have many stories of people that have gone through really dark times. My favorite story was someone who lost her son, and she had the Feel Good bag on her counter in her bedroom closet, and she had lost him on like a Tuesday, and on Wednesday she walked in, and on the floor was the stone, "You are not alone." And you know, it's just we have beautiful stories with this. So
Yeah.
it's everything you need to hear when you need to hear it.
So I assume you have a website. You can buy it off the website,
yes,
right?
feelgoodbag.com. Yes.
Feelgoodbag.com. How much is it?
Oh, $25.95, I think.
You don't even know.
I'm a very poor salesman. I'm not in charge of this.
Where is
Ashley's
Ashley?
my partner. Suzanne's in charge of this. Ashley's in charge. I'm a therapist.
That's right. So, but luckily they were able to get together enough Feel Good bags, because I know it was we came up with this last minute.
Yes.
So Ashley was able to get
Ashley's
up
amazing.
enough Feel Good bags that we've got one for everyone in the studio audience. We're like Oprah. You get a Feel Good bag. You get a Feel Good
Where are
bag.
the elves that run in? Where are the running elves? You're the running elves.
We'll get that for next show. All right, and we like to also leave you guys with a mantra. And I remember when Shannon and I first started talking about mantras, and I was like, would roll my eyes like, mantras. Oh God, this is so woo-woo. But I really, I believe in them. I really believe in mantras and
Yes.
just repeating the same thing over and over again.
what
Some
this
of my
is.
mantras are my passwords for all my websites.
So listen carefully.
Right. I change them often, so you don't know my passwords. But you know, I mean, my passwords, I put them at the end of my journal, every single entry. You know, one of mine was Be Brave, and one of my girlfriends got me the Be Brave. It's in a frame that
love
hangs
it.
in my bathroom.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can just incorporate it into your life, and a password is a really good way because you use it every day.
Right.
But it's a really good way to kind of remind yourself of what you are,
Yeah.
you know,
where you're going,
where you're
what your goals
going.
are, what you
Right.
want to believe
Right.
about yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
So today's mantra, which has to do with the topic of struggle and letting go, is
Everything happens perfectly in this moment, and trust the process.
yeah. So trust the process. That
Yeah.
is really hard to do sometimes, but if we can all just trust the process, I think, you know.
Without adding that fun word at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, just totally
or
trust the
blank process.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and the other thing that we have are some Barry Manilow tickets. That'll let you let go, right? Okay, so thank you to my boyfriend, Stephen
Yes,
Panullo,
yes.
who got the tickets
Get
for
me
us.
more tickets.
Yeah. So Barry Manilow is coming in concert to the American Airlines Arena next Thursday.
Wow.
And I put it on our social media channels that if whoever signs up on our mailing list, whoever's on a mailing list, we're going to choose someone at random for the Barry Manilow seats. And they are good seats. They're lower level, section 112 at American Airlines Arena, and they're free to one person. And our winner today is Rhonda Malazzo. So congratulations, Rhonda. Yeah, I don't think Rhonda's not here, but We will get you your tickets, Rhonda. I'll email you because you were on our email list. So thank you very much, Rhonda. We really appreciate it. All right, and if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, you can of course leave a comment or hit us up on any of our social media channels. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Please. Also like our Facebook page. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're pretty much everywhere. We're on a podcast. Yep. So if you want to just listen to us, just search What Your Friends Won't Tell You on iTunes.